Good Friday afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. Breaking this afternoon, Golden Valley's police chief Virgil Green has resigned after a lengthy leave. According to documents from the city of Golden Valley, Green allegedly interfered with an investigation into a city police officer and tried to stop it. The exact details of that investigation have not been released. Those documents also say Green released body-worn camera video without authorization. Green had been on paid administrative leave since the end of May. A look from our nation's capital this afternoon, where the Senate is voting on the Republican and Democratic spending bills that have already failed to advance several times. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says if the measures fail again, they will adjourn until Monday, which would be the 6th day of the government shutdown. According to Republican leadership, the bill they want to push through funds the government for a few weeks so they can work out a larger funding situation.
We have a majority of senators, 55 senators, have already voted for this clean, short-term, nonpartisan CR. As the Speaker said, no policy riders, no gimmicks, nothing in here that benefits Republicans. This is a straight-up 7-week funding resolution, and we need it to keep the government open.
The shutdown also having an impact on farmers already struggling from the tariff standoff. They're harvesting soybeans right now, but China stopped buying U.S. soybeans after a 55% tariff imposed by the Trump administration. The U.S. is traditionally the top exporter to China. Jennifer Hoff has a look at help, though, that might be out there.
Perfect weather kicks off another harvest season. More than 40 now for Brad Dean.
Not a bad way to spend a day, is it?
Focused on finishing the soybeans at his Dayton farm.
This field is a 100-acre field. We can do about 25 acres an hour.
Instead of what's not so great right now.
It's still a rewarding career, but you know, it's got its challenges, especially this year.
In May, President Trump issued a 55% tariff on China that used to buy the most American soybeans, but now is boycotting buying any, causing a financial strain the state's Farmers Union president calls unprecedented.
We went through the 80s farm crisis, and this is potentially setting out to be a lot worse.
Dean says he preemptively sold half his crop at the start of the year. The other has to be stored until next summer.
There'll be a market, but at what price? You know, right now at $9, that's below our cost of production, so there's no profit to be made in raising soybeans.
The administration acknowledging farmers are taking a hit. Trump signaling a bailout yesterday using money from tariffs on imports. His ag secretary asking for patience.
The president's commitment of a golden age for rural America, for our American farmers and workers, is just around the corner.
Dean expects to lose a lot of money, but hopes to save some on drying and energy costs as that sun and warmth helps push him through another season.
Farming's going to have ups and downs. It's just the nature of the beast.
China has since turned to South America to get its soybeans, including Argentina. And while some politicians have suggested the U.S. get into other crop markets rather than soybeans and corn, Dean says building up infrastructure, relationships, and buying different equipment takes time, so it is not a quick fix. New today, we are hearing from Omar Jamal, a well-known advocate for the Minneapolis Somali community, after his release from ICE custody, saying he wanted to speak out about his time in the Freeborn County Jail.
And you know me for a long time. I call out people when I feel like they are in violation of basic law or rules or regulations, because after all, we live in a country of law. We're not living in a country of men. This is a country of law. And the fact that I'm standing right in front of you today speaks in volume that the law is working.
He was in ICE detention for about a month after being after being arrested, I should say, for a 2005 conviction for immigration fraud in Tennessee. Jamal's attorney says the case was resolved through a mutually agreed upon settlement. New today, President Trump says Hamas has until Sunday evening to agree to a proposed peace deal with Israel or risk a bigger military operation 2 years now into their war. In a social media post, the president says every country has signed on, and this could be the last chance for peace in the Middle East. The peace plan has been accepted by Israel, but mediators, including at least one Hamas official, say some elements still need negotiating. We have new details from the superintendent of the White Bear Lake School District revealing how a 22-year-old man enrolled in the high school as an 18-year-old. In a letter to families, Superintendent Wayne Kazmierczak says Calvin Lupke enrolled as Calvin Perry Jr. and stated on a district forum that he was a homeless, unaccompanied youth. The letter states that anyone under that designation is allowed to enroll immediately due to the federal McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. And that's even if they cannot provide documentation. Lupke actually had a birth certificate. Lupke was enrolled in the district for 19 days and participated in 3 football practices, according to Kazmierczak.
From what my boyfriend said that he was always constantly talking about girls in the locker room.
How is it possible for a 22-year-old individual to somehow infiltrate the system and make their way into our high school?
Police say they're investigating the 22-year-old for crimes related to fraud, forgery, and unlawful conduct involving interactions with minors. He is currently not in custody. New details on that deadly terror attack at a UK synagogue. 2 people were killed, and one of those deaths, according to police, does appear to be accidental. NBC's Ralph Sanchez is in Manchester with those details.
More than 24 hours after the attack at this synagogue, which has shaken Britain and shocked Jewish communities around the world, this is very much an active crime scene. We are learning more about both the attacker and his victims. British police saying the assailant was 35-year-old Jihad al-Shami. They are saying that he was a British citizen, born in Syria, came to the UK at a young age. And at this point, they are still trying to understand his exact motivations, but clearly this is being treated as an anti-Semitic terror attack. One big question is whether he acted alone or part of a larger organization. 3 other people here in the Manchester area have been arrested on suspicion of preparing an act of terrorism. British police are also saying today that one of his 2 victims, one of the 2 Jewish men killed yesterday, suffered a gunshot wound that appears to have been from British police accidentally shooting as they were taking out the attacker. 3 people seriously injured, 1 from the car ramming, 1 from the stabbing, and the 3rd also suffering a gunshot wound. They are in hospital now. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer visiting the scene earlier and vowing that police will step up security at synagogues and at Jewish institutions across this country in an effort to try to make a very, very shaken Jewish community feel safe. Ralph Sanchez, NBC News, Manchester, England.
Quick Trip is getting rid of the penny. The convenience store says all cash purchases will be rounded down to the nearest 5 cents. Quick Trip says it's in response to the U.S. Treasury's decision to stop production of the penny. They say their registers will automatically apply the new rounding down rules. But again, this is only for cash purchases. Right now, a Metro food shelf is bouncing back after having to dump spoiled food and drinks measured in tons. It happened after lightning knocked out the power at Prism in Golden Valley late last month. But that was just the start of the problem. Jessica Hart shows us how they're bouncing back with help from the community.
Food can be hard to afford.
It's like we've got some greens.
Michelle Ness
Over here we've got
tries to ease the burden at Prism, a Golden Valley food shelf.
We've got, I think, maybe some Brussels sprouts. We've got some peppers.
She helps 500 families a week and can't afford to see food go to waste.
We're continuing to see more and more families come in. 1 out of 5 families that comes over the course of a week is visiting us for the very first time.
So when a storm rolled in 2 weeks ago, her heart sank.
Lightning struck the telephone pole right outside of the building. It's all black, charred all around. We had a power line down across our driveway.
A 12-hour power outage.
The power did come back on. It blew a breaker for the refrigerator.
In this case, there was a point in crying over spoiled milk.
About 6,000 pounds of food is what we needed to get rid of altogether. 648 half gallons of milk.
All of the items in their refrigerator tossed.
It's just really unfortunate. The need is so high in the community. We want that food to be going into the kitchen of community members and certainly not down the drain.
Monday after the storm, more food was delivered.
We've got bakery items, we've got eggs, there's deli, there's yogurt, lots of milk, produce. These are all the items that we lost when the power went out.
But the problems are not over.
It's amazing to see them stocked up again.
Ness says the food shelf still needs help to replenish food donations and to buy something new.
We're talking with our partners, assessing what size generator would we need, how much would we want of the building to have it covered, what is the timeline for installation. I don't anticipate that this is a small cost.
A worthy cost to hopefully prevent food from ever going to waste again.
Ness says they consulted with health experts on what to toss. She says luckily they didn't need to throw away food in their freezer. She says they are always in need of donations, especially since they're seeing even more people these days. Right now, the Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon weekend is officially underway, bringing tens of thousands of people to the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And right now, organizers are keeping a close eye on that forecast. There is a tier of danger levels here, and Sunday is going to reach yellow, which is less than ideal, of course, conditions for those runners out there. It means it will be hot enough where they say you should consider slowing your pace. Parts of the race, especially towards the end, could get into the red zone, meaning 80-degree temperatures, of course, meaning you should probably drink more water. Now, not welcome news to the 30,000 runners expected to participate in all those races across the weekend. 9,200 of those folks doing the marathon, over 11,000 signed up for the 10-mile. 300 medical volunteers will be on hand. Important to marathon runners, 14 fluid stations are across the course, and they get more frequent as you get closer to the finish. There are runners from all 50 states going to be represented, so there will be people out there who are used to this heat. And remember, you can stream coverage of the Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon exclusively right here on KARE 11 Plus. Morgan Wolf and Julia Daniels will be part of the live coverage that starts at 6:30 Sunday morning. And new this year, we're going to have a second live stream of just the finish line. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.